what's going on, everybody? You're going to have to help me out with the sound a little bit. We got a cold snap, and I think it's affected the tech, so let me know if the mic is too loud, if it's distorted, or anything like that. I think we're in pretty good shape. I can't tell, though, so if you could give me some feedback. All right, you know what? I know it's not October. I know it's not November 1st yet, but it's already November 1st. Um, Last night was a deep night. I think at this point, it's safe to say that we don't have to check in with each other anymore because we know telepathically and intuitively that we're all on the same page. And, the days of going out and looking for validation on the news feed, and synchronistic things that occur during the day that sequentially take place. Uh, Confirming and affirming that we're not crazy are fading fast. And so I think it's high time that we start to compare notes. We have 111 comments. How funny is that? Um, yeah, but just to give you a little backdrop, because I think, to speak about it is still, something that's part of our evolution. But obviously, October was the biggest month we've ever had. Every month that goes by is the biggest month we've ever had. In fact, every month that goes by is bigger than all the lifetime experiences that we've ever had in comparison to it. But this post eclipse. This post eclipse is already seeded. It's already started, and I can feel it. It's been a strange weekend, a lot of purging, lots of stuff coming up, but in ways that it never had before. Ways that were not debilitating, ways that were clear, not only in what they were saying, but also in the gifts that they bring, which is, the things that aren't going with us. And that doesn't really mean that we detach from anything, because how can you detach from anything if we're all connected? This is new math, it's new physics, it's new geometry. But, based on what I'm about to share, and 33 people in the house, 111 and 33. We got all these master numbers coming up, and today is what, the 10:30. Oh, and it's 12:12 here in the Central Time Zone. Cannot make this stuff up. Anyway, let me go back to what I was getting at. Let me just make sure I got everything on properly. So throughout the night, first of all, I think the way this month went was kind of like a fast track. Every time that we felt like we had an understanding and a grip on reality, so to speak, the game, whatever you want to call it, life, ascension, every single time that we started to stabilize, if you might say it that way, another wave came in. And they're not stopping. They're not stopping. I'm convinced now. And it's not that it's for us to take a beating, it's for us to become more familiar that this is our natural state, that these waves, these ebbs and flows are our natural state, and there is no low to it. It's all about expansion. It's like inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. And so, I'm getting strong messages throughout the night. It took me close to 3 hours to get my arms around everything. And I felt 44 people in the house. Here we go with these numbers. But it took me like 3.5 hours to get everything kind of organized in my field, and to really begin to anchor in the conscious moment with my brothers and sisters and with the collective universal. And understanding that this is the path from here forward. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about code. I'm talking about code. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about code being identified as immediately shareable. I'm talking about things not being hoarded, things not being held back, all information being brought out onto the table, regardless, no matter what it is, who it is, why it is, how it is. There's nothing secreted. There's nothing that any of us are not prepared for, because at the core of it all, we are soul, and we chose to come here. And I don't care if you're, from your perspective, looking at yourself as a good guy or a bad guy, or somebody else as a negative or a positive. Every one of us is a soul, and we chose to come here. And we're quantum thought creators. And if we think there's some bullshit out there, and we think there's some boogeyman out there, then by God, there will be. But that won't be part of my reality. I can tell you that straight up. We don't know if there's 8 billion Earths for 8 different incarnated souls walking the earth. We don't know how this works. And the only real surrender is giving it up to the knowing that you don't know, and understanding that no matter how strong our convictions are and our beliefs and our dreams and our desires and our loves and everything, there is something bigger than all of us. And it truly is oneness. And oneness can only be attained. There are few absolutes in the universe, but oneness is oneness, and there's no in between. So, therefore, it can only be attained by full 100% unity consciousness coming from the quantum thought creator in this reality, in this space and time that we're in. So, where am I going with this? All night long, I was having probably more recollection of lucid dreams, where I get my messages, a lot of my messages, and not only that, but more lucid dreams. At least that's what it seemed like. More scenes, more people, more messages, and it felt to me and feels to me. I'm not going to speak in the past tense anymore. I'm only going to speak with INGs and present tense terms, at least to the best of my ability, and as little or no negative connotation in any form or fashion that would convey any type of loss or lack or anything like that. So, first of all, the message I got was very powerfully interpreted from my soul to my human, which is me. I am my soul. I am soul. I am my oversoul. I am oversoul. I'm in a body and I'm conscious, and every one of you is the same thing. And some of you have more wherewithal in one department, or understanding or knowledge or awareness than I do, and I have it in other categories more than you or someone else does. Bottom line is, this is a beehive intelligence, and the more we open up to each other and the more we share things with each other, the more coding, most of it probably undetected in the moment to the human consciousness, the more of it that comes into the awareness of the collective and to fruition, really. Because, the bottom line here is, people use the term free will, free will, free will. And I see it used in a lot of different ways. We came in here on our own free will, and we can operate here on our own free will. But the definition of free will, just like the definition of everything else that this realm has presented over the last 12,000 years, has been massaged, has been bastardized, has been changed. But see, beneath all of this, beneath what we call the matrix, what is crumbling, beneath it all is the purity, the oneness, the unity of the universal template, you might say, the universal foundation, the universal reality. So there is nothing that's built on top of it that can remove it or take away from it. We can talk about the clarion call, we can talk about distress in Mother Earth, we can talk about all these different narratives, but the bottom line, it runs through us. So here's the thing. We have a free will choice every single moment to choose. and and we're moving into a space, we're here already, where the results of our choices are not going to be measured or experienced by the old paradigm. You know, like the old carrot on the stick reward system. Okay? It doesn't operate that way. It's simply from right here, the mind, heart, and spirit. You know, you could say the thoughts, words, and actions, where we refuse to participate. Now we can get, um, we can get descriptive here, and we can say to the point of death, but there is no death, and that's really the leap that we're taking. Do you believe it or not? Are you going to be scared of it or not? And therefore, if we're not scared of that, what the hell else are we scared of? What can these people do? These people, these actors that are playing these roles of these governmental and religious institutions, and we can go through all the narratives and the conspiracies and the disclosure subjects with the Vatican and the Queen and the monarchies and the NSA and the CIA and the bullshit and this and that and the other thing. We can go through all that stuff, but guess what? All of it was designed by us in order for us to forget us. Now, what a great design is that? Because who better to fool you but yourself? And we've done this collectively. So we've done this from a beehive intelligence, which has created a high level of intelligence in a physical realm in a thick density, where we chose to come and transform from the depths and the expanse that we never had before in the entire multiversal experience, based on everyone I've ever run into, both in dimension and in the physical body, like through the talk show Soul Speaks 5D. What was the theme last night? The theme last night was all about the mother, okay? Every dream, she didn't come in at any particular time as she's come in the past. 66 people now. You see where this is going? 15 minutes and 15 seconds we're on. See? These sequential synchronicities are driving this transformation. We don't have to sit here and worry about fucking COVID anymore, or vaccines, or taxes, or any of this stuff. We've learned that we can neutralize and bring equilibrium to each and everything and anything and all things by doing it within ourselves. And this is no longer some new age bullshit that came out in the 90s as some CIA psyops, okay? This is the real thing. All these things that were produced and orchestrated and strategized and implemented and initiated in order to slow us down and stop us could never stop us. Not Project Bluebeam, not Project Looking Glass, not Project Yellow Cube, not Agenda 2030, not some vaccine, not Carl Schwab. And remember something, and I need to remind myself every day, when we discuss these things and when we identify these things and when we claim our dominion and our equality and oneness and unity consciousness with these things, we have to be very careful not to carry a charge. So I'm one that uses colorful language when I get excited because I'm passionate. And I want to be careful to convey the right energy and let you know, for what it's worth, that I am one with Carl Schwab. I am one with the element of all the different characters and archetypes that take on many different forms, be they some theoretical study by Nietzsche, or they be a physical manifestation of a Hitler or of a Biden or a Trump or a Clinton or any number of other characters that are simply physical representations of energy that's being presented to us for a purpose, for a higher purpose, right? So the theme last night throughout all these encounters was the Mother Goddess. Okay? I don't know how else to put it. These themes involved many people, some people that you know and I know, you could say, some people that have transitioned were there. Very powerful, very strong, unified galactic presence. And I'm not talking about a galactic presence like we talk about in these circles, in these communities. I'm not talking about anything outside of ourselves. I'm talking about the things that comprise us. All of these aspects, all these narratives, all these commentaries, all of these downloads, all these channelings, all these connections, all these past, future, and parallel life recollections, encoding, and memory that comes in. It's all part of us. None of it is dominant over us. Every bit of it is us. And there is always the chicken and the egg. People can always say, well, who made God? Well, we'll never know this. But what we do know is that the universe, the multiverse, the you and me verse grows as infinitely outward as it does inward. And at this point, in this incarnation, this series of incarnation coming to an end and a cycle of cycles, ending, beginning, we don't have to know, nor will we know. Because anyone who's ever visited the void, and I know every one of us has in one form or fashion, it's that place where you literally have no power. Because you're everything. You're just there. You're just it. Now, where did that come from? So, I want to go back to what was 77 now. You see how it went from 33 to 44 to 55, 66, 77. The theme last night was one in which I'm just going to try to translate it as the best of my ability. The rules are set, so to speak, because the ruleless rules and the lawless laws have dropped. Period. They're not there. You can go play with them. You can go play with them like they're there. Okay? It's kind of like an inversion of when we were little kids. When we were little kids, we would go into the backyard and we would play with our imaginary friends. And we would talk to the elementals, and we would talk to the rocks, and we would talk to the wind, And we were told that it wasn't real. But it was real. So now the inversion's happened. Okay? Now we have an atmosphere, a consciousness, a field of consciousness that has landed and been anchored and is fully there and accessible for us to actualize and utilize and collaborate with and create newness. All right? Now, the only thing keeping us from that are these old, finite creations, such as fear, such as death, all from this realm, all from this fishbowl of a realm in one little corner of the multiverse that was all by itself, that's flipped upside down, and now we're about to really show this multiversal what the hell we came here for. But these old threads, these threads of, oh, you got to get a driver's license, and you got to pay taxes, and you got to get a vaccination. Bullshit, fuck that shit, okay? And excuse me, because I do get passionate. Now, I have oneness with all of those programs. I participated in the design and the experiencing of all those programs, okay? And all that stuff that wasn't real, and all that stuff that put a barrier between me and you, prejudices and biases and all that stuff. I hold it in the highest regard. I hold all the experience in the highest regard. But time's up in the universe. I'm tired of waiting. You're tired of waiting. 22 minutes into the show. All these double numbers coming up. What I'm trying to say is the overall message that came in last night, delivered through the presence of the Mother Goddess, right? Mother Goddess, Mother Universe, Mother Earth. It's all the same thing, right? And let me tell you something. She walks softly with a big fucking stick. And when I say that, it's not to beat anybody. It's because when you hear something from her, you don't argue with it. I remember doing a show with Sandra Walter in April, and was telling her about my previous year. We're just exchanging stories, and I said to her, the mother told me. The mother came in and told me to go to Sedona, and she said, when the mother calls, you just do it. I'm said, right. That's exactly right. So the theme was delivered by the mother's consciousness, by their mother's presence, and basically saying the rules, the old is gone. Unless you want to go play with it, okay, then you can keep playing with it. And that's okay. No judgment, no harm, no foul. But we are in a field now that's 100% wide open, okay? And we don't have to think about the consequences of it being atypical or unconventional or unacceptable or even quote unquote unlawful by these constructs that are falling. And this takes me to the biggest message that happened throughout the night. And as I was able to recall this morning, the biggest message was to go forth and do it. To go forth and do it. To understand that death and doubt are falling fast, they're falling hard. That and truly none of these apparatus of the matrix, so to speak, none of these institutions, if we want to use human terms, none of these things have any power over us at all. And it's simply through the power of suggestion, persuasion, and coercion, you could even say, but even in coercion, we still have to say, I agree. Okay? We can use so many different examples. But the bottom line is this: it doesn't matter if it seems like a small issue or a big issue. Just like we started to ask ourselves, why am I thinking this about this person? Why am I in this relationship? Why do I live in this house? Why am I doing this job? Why do I drive this car? Why do I say these things? All of this stuff that's been going on in our mental calisthenics as we've been pushing through, especially in 2023, applies in the same way in the collective field. Why am I getting a license? Why am I buying a product with GMO? Okay? Why am I sitting in a house that's pouring fluoride out of my sink? But here's the flip side of it. Here's an example of what the mother's consciousness was conveying to me throughout the night. Instead of going, oh, fuck that shit. Oh, those bastards, they put fluoride in the water, GMOs in the food, chemtrails, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, guess what? We survived these things. We have survived these things. Not only have we survived, but we've expanded these things. And as we cleaned up our field, our universe, our internal, okay, as within, without, we are the ones that are making this change. So as we find ourselves in these situations and we're dealing with these types of apparent energies, which are really just suggestions of what this energy that's standing before me might be based on the narrative that doesn't have any power over me. So what does that mean? That means I can walk into McDonald's because I am a magician, I am an alchemist, I am soul, I am the creator of this earth, I am the creator of this universe and multiverse. And you know what I mean there, because the math isn't the same here. Forget the definitions and the teachings of the realm. Forget that. That was our creation. Honor it. Say, hi, how you doing? Wow, I really faked myself out. My brothers and sisters, we faked ourselves out. It's just suggestion. It doesn't matter what level of physicality it has. I don't care. It doesn't matter. So that means that if I have no other choice, and it just seems that way, like I did when I was homeless, and I ate at McDonald's 4 or 5 days a week because I had to, because I didn't have any money. I would sit with that food. I would sit with the chemicals. I would alchemize with it. I would merge with it. I would accept it. I would love it, and I would make it me, because it is me. There's nothing outside of me that isn't me. There's nothing outside of me that is artificial intelligence. If there's artificial intelligence out there, then this is artificial intelligence. When you get right down to it, anything beyond the one would be artificial intelligence, another representation of the one. How do you think we learn? We create the other side of the yin, right? The yin creates the yang, or the yang creates the yin. It's the chicken and the egg. I don't know what comes first. 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Okay, here we go. 88 in the house. You cannot tell me that we are not hitting synchronicities. You cannot tell me that there's not another geometry and mathematics and language and communication a bandwidth. You cannot tell me that it's not coming anymore. It's anchored on this earth. It's anchored on this earth. It's embodied in us. Stop being too modest. Stop being too humble. We are here to kick ass and take fucking names. And this is not about retribution. This is about rebirthing, resurrection, rediscovering, reawakening, movement. This is what the universe does. It's spiritual inertia. It's always moving. And as we align our free will with that truth and understand that with growth comes change, and that this world taught us that change is a bad thing. And we understand this is so simple. The profound simplicity of the infinite mind, love, wisdom. We understand that change comes with growth. So what does that mean? That means we've been conditioned to be in a space that we're comfortable with, our domicile, our home, our job, our relationship, and to accept any and all things that come with it that feel good or don't feel good. Okay? That we don't have a choice in the matter. We just accept it. Well, the way this works is we had been conditioned like lab rats to accept things and think there was no other choice, and think that something needs to protect us. Do you think this universe is going to protect you? Do you think the government's going to protect you? Who protects you? We are our own peace. We are our own power. We are our own protection. We weren't, it's not natural for us to give our power away to anything. And it doesn't matter whether it's incarnated in a body or has a physicality or not. Our oneness, our unity consciousness requires, it's just the way it is because of the forward motion of the universal energy, but that we own ourselves, our space, our soul. The only thing that we own and command in this universal equation is ourselves. And somehow or another, through this universal, multiversal, sacred geometric math that's far beyond our level of consciousness at this time, we're connected in the as within, as without, adage. Now, going back to the dreams, my understanding is, and I'm going for it, I'm not waiting for the 1st of November. I'm understanding that it's time to go for it. That no matter what it is, it's time to give. It's way past time. It's not even about time. It's just available. If you want to do it, do it. I'm going to fucking do it. And I know a bunch of other people that are going to do it. And that is to jump into this river. Jump into it. I'm going to have to speak in terms of my own personal life. But it's about going with the trajectory, the momentum that we've created, and recognize it and stop going, we jump into the river and we jump out going, wow, look at that. We got from here to there, and we get caught up in the wow, and we get caught up in the story and the narrative and the visions and the transmissions and the downloads and the activations and the triggers. Those are the signpost on the road. Those are the steps on the soul highway. So we just jump back into the river and we start to roll, and we have this consciousness, and it's like a freaking plant medicine trip. And what does that look like for Todd? Well, it looks like for Todd is, look, I'm on this path. I try to document as much as I can, for anyone that's kind of followed stuff through the years. We're headed for a Soulogy Fest in 6 weeks or so. It doesn't look anything like any type of festival or conference I've ever seen. I don't even understand it. It's wild, it's strange, it's frightening, but it's coming together in this crazy way. And I know that as this event goes, so the world is going. But it doesn't just happen on its own. It happens by taking action and honoring and recognizing where we're at, what we're doing, who we are, how things happen, the synchronicities, the serendipity, the grace of the Mother Goddess, the messages that we get, the coding that we share, the bullshit that we drop. And we come down to this eternal moment, because what else is there but that? 3333 and 99 in the house. Okay, you see how this works? But but what does that come down to? It comes down to, and we've talked about these things. Not me, everybody else. I've talked about it too because I do a talk show. But being present is far beyond what we ever thought. Being present is being in that void space, literally, while you're conscious in this space, where everything and anything makes sense and is possible, where everything is nothing but everything is everything. It's just this space of living. We're like the damn dog chasing its tail. And we've bit our tail and we bit ourselves in the ass by now enough times to know this isn't going away. This is the real thing. How do these things come into our comprehension? How do they come into our field? How do they get anchored? The anchoring occurs on the awareness, right? We know this. But the real threading, the real weaving, the real new earth, and we can get into all these narratives and these metaphorical descriptions and all the different things that have been passed down, okay? These are all just codes, information to get us here. How does it really happen? It happens by taking action. If you get the nudge to do something, go do it. And if it doesn't make sense in the quote unquote conventional world, then you better understand that that's your soul guiding you. The things that we're doing that defy the normal cultural standards, you might say, that's what got us all here. That's what got all the crazy people together, okay? We have a place called Soulogy. And it's one of many, I'm sure, but it's happening. And if you can't do it at Soulogy, do it somewhere else. We're not here to make money. We're not here for ego. We're here to put every soul on the face of the earth, give them an opportunity to get up on the stage, so to speak, the proverbial stage, to grab a proverbial microphone, to grab a proverbial instrument or paintbrush or whatever, and shine their soul, because there's not a goddamn thing, anything that we've created that you might identify as a matrix or any mask of this AI or anything that you want, however you want to call it. That's all us. That's all us. And now we have come to this extraordinary point where any soul that's here commands the respect of the multiverses. And I don't care if it's Hitler, Bill Gates, Todd Medina, Ernestine Day, whoever it is. We have come here to accomplish something and to move beyond the narrative and the stories and the illusion, the holy illusion that we created and orchestrated and designed for ourselves, for our brothers and sisters, for the other fractals of the universe, however you want to put it. Everything has come to a point now where there's only one thing to do: rock and roll. Rock and roll. And what is the currency? What is the currency in this new earth? Equal energy exchange. Get off our beliefs about money. Get off of our stances on this and that. Get off of our stances on possession, ownership, copyrights, and trademarks. Fuck that shit, okay? It's not real. These are control mechanisms, and let's be careful not to create devilish characters of the Illuminati and the 1%. Do you realize, if we look at our own lives, the value and importance of those energies, some being people, some being jobs, some being whatever it is, that were the greatest antagonists that we had, right? if it wasn't for that part of us that some of us chose to play a role, that role as, we wouldn't be given the opportunity, the accessibility to shine light to this level. The only way that the universe and the universe can expand to new heights of illumination, let's say light in the sense that light is knowledge, wisdom, code, love. There's nothing about color, all right, or even hue, all right? But the only way that that can happen is through experience. And what is true experience? True experience is the real teaching. It's the only way to learn. You can't teach me anything, and I can't teach you anything, but you can sure learn from the experience. Now, the only way to experience anything beyond, how long can you watch reruns? How long can you watch reruns? It's always something fresh. It's always something new. It's why I love doing what I do, even though it's been tough over these last few months as Soulogy Network was being formed and put out there, and as, all the different things, concerns, financial, personal, this, that, and the other thing, all these things happening. But the one thing I love about it, more than anything, and why I'll never leave this post, is because every day I see a newer level of soul expansion, a newer level of light. It doesn't come through with instructions, or it's not verbalized in a perfect manner. It's just energy. It's looking at somebody on the screen like Mindy Chi and Alessandra Gaia that were on, I believe, yesterday. If you think you have anything to worry about, go watch that show. Because my point is twofold. One, I do this because every day I can say, oh my God, that's the best show I've ever seen. This isn't about instruction. It's not about modalities and processes. They help and they have their place. This is about I am soul. This is about unity consciousness. This is about openness. If you think you have got your life figured out, if you think you know exactly what you're going to do forever, if you think that you have adopted the perfect sacred wisdom from the mystery schools of the multiverses, I got news for you. Openness is the key. Openness and conscious equal energy exchange is the key. This is how the masters move through the multiverses and the universes. This is what we do. This is the shamanic way, where we walk into places in balance, and there are a never-ending leveling up and leveling down, okay, that are somehow connected. And we're implementing this. This isn't about piousness. This isn't about what you eat. This isn't about anything other than the Holy Trinity of thoughts, words, and actions. And there are many trinities there, and they're all one and the same. I use that one because it involves the human to the highest degree. And it is through these seemingly elementary, non-sensational human thoughts, words, and actions, when in comparison to our multidimensionality, it all comes down to the human, right? It doesn't matter who you were in a past life. It doesn't matter what planet speaks to you and what aspects speak to you. It doesn't matter that you can see dragons, or I can see dragons, or Arcturians, and we all have our stories, and we all experience it in a different way. What matters is who you are, and what you're a part of. And you only get one chance to do it the first time. And we only get one first time. So the spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and courageous, I am soul. I am soul. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. The gist of the dreams last night was the mother consciousness, the mother's presence coming in and saying, son, get after it. Get after it. Be brave. Be open as you can. Be transparent as you can. Tell people what you're trying to do. Show people more than anything. Show people. Don't talk about it. I've learned through the lessons of my life that when you know something, why you got to say it. And if you're talking about it, be it me, be it you, now we got 111 people in the house. See how that works? But if you talk about it, I always say to myself, who am I trying to convince? Me or the person I'm telling? Because if I know it, my energy shows it. So let me close it out. This isn't a promo. I don't know if 75 people that are coming to Soulogy Fest is all that will come. I don't know if several hundred will come. But I know one thing. I'm going to take my spot on the stage and or a workshop and or presenting something or performing something. I'm going to go there and do many things, but I'm going to do one thing, and that is to be me. And I'm going to show the world who I am in that moment to the best of my ability with all my perfect imperfections. And I'm going to encourage everyone else to do it. That's what I see happening at Soulogy. So if you can't do it at Soulogy, do it somewhere. Check out the Soulogy Network. Check out what's happening there. Check out what will be happening there. Have a little faith. Check out the Soulogy Fest online, soulogyfest.com. Check it out in person. If you're anywhere near Houston, come on. Let's roll. It's in these moments where these amazing things happen. What would you rather be? Would you rather be in some city on fucking lockdown and not afraid to go out or afraid to travel? Because what happens if this happens? Or what happens if the big flash comes or the fucking spaceships land? Who gives a shit, right? If I'm going to die, well, that's a joke. If I'm going to do something, if I'm going to be alive, okay, that's what I loved about what Mindy Chi said yesterday. 6 weeks ago, she finds out she's got stage 3 of a very accelerative affliction. What a beautiful family that is. And if you haven't watched that show and you don't do anything else, anything I ever tell you my whole life, watch that show. And she said, I'm not dying. I'm living. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we want to do. And that is the contagion. That is the virus. That is the antivirus. Do you. Be you. Be you. And in the Trinity energy where you are serving yourself equally. You're not trying to prove a point, put somebody down, make a statement. Be yourself. It's the best thing I can do, you can do for myself, for others, and for the collective. Okay? And if you're not, don't have somewhere to mingle and to jump up on a platform and or just be supportive in the audience, or share a poem or run a workshop or whatever the case is, come do it at Soulogy. SoulogyNetwork.com, SoulogyFest.com. Come for a month, come for a year, come forever. It doesn't matter. Come for a day. But do it somewhere. And it's high time that we know better now. We don't need to talk about it anymore. We have enough information that we don't even need to discuss it. Giving our power away to something that we divinely designed and orchestrated ourselves are over. It's time to shine. So shine your soul. Authenticity on the SoulogyNetwork.com starts in 6 minutes with Anna Toothman and Aaron Ogden, I believe, is the guest. And then we're going to be jamming tonight with Ty Hudnall, and I got a feeling that's going to be off the hook. So I'll be back later today. Peace out, everybody. I love you. I am soul. You are soul, and soul is the mother goddess.